everybody and welcome to Sinfin Allotments. Today it's the 2nd of April on 2021 and we are just about the end of our 3rd lockdown. So here we are, nearly at the end of the pandemic. We hope you're all getting your vaccines and looking forward to starting your normal life once again. However, last year, although we were in lockdown, allotments were really important places because it was the one place we were allowed to come to on a regular basis. And it's a great space, and because of that, the uptake of allotments went through the roof. So there's waiting lists nearly on every allotment around the country, and it's no different for here. We've got a 2-year waiting list, unfortunately, for some people. However, we appreciate that. And we think, why wait for an allotment when you can grow at home? So what we did last year, we started a Grow With Us project where we did runner beans. And we talked you through it step by step, held your hand if you like, Kev. And we helped you grow your beans, and I know we had some fantastic photographs coming on of all the children growing their beans, or adults even, it's not just for children, but actually having all these vegetables growing amongst your roses, and your hydrangeas. It's a lovely thing. Why wait for an allotment? Having your own fresh food at your doorstep there's just nothing like it. Go out, pick it, cook it, eat it. There is just no comparison taste wise. Anyway, it was such a success last year, we thought we'd do it all again. And this year we're going to do little dwarf beans this time. And anyway, we're not going to talk about it anymore. We're going to get on with it. Okay, so this year we're going to be doing dwarf beans. Now dwarf beans, you might know them better as fine green beans. They're exactly the same ones. The thing is, some of the beans actually grow up long stakes, a bit like your runner beans last year. These ones are a little dwarf bush. They're about this high and probably about this big. And the great thing is they're self-pollinating, which means you can dot them all over your garden. You don't have to have a big patch to be able to put, all your plants together. You can, if you next to your roses or your hydrangeas over there, you can have them all spread around your garden and they'll fit in lovely. They'll look beautiful. So they have pretty flowers on as well, so they'll definitely fit into your garden lovely. So to do the beans this year, we're going to obviously be using our paper pots again. Obviously you don't have to use them. You could use seed trays or anything. The great thing about these for beans is when you've grown your bean in there and it's grown and it's ready to go in the garden, these can go straight into the ground, so you're not disturbing the root, you're not messing about with them, and that will last you the whole time. So that's for that. So I'm just going to very quickly, I know we did it last year, but I'm very quickly just showing you how to do your pot. You're going to need a polished can with a dome base to it. You need a normal newspaper, not one of the big ones, just the normal ones. You get 3 sheets, you cut a long strip straight down it there, and you take your 3 sheets put together. Find the right place on your polish can, and by that I mean when you don't know where it is to start with, so what you do is you just start it off, and what you're looking for is that when you fold that over, it doesn't want to be all the way across. It wants to be just over halfway, so that when you push them in, it's overlapping. So you'll find there's some wording on the bottle, on the can, sorry, and you can use that every time. And it's really just the first one that you're messing about with. So you roll it up, and all you do, where the crease is, you start there and you just push it in. Work your way around, push them in really firmly, so that you've got no hole at the bottom, and if you like you can give it a squish, pull your can out, and voila, you've got your little pot. So on the allotment we tend to do a lot of everything. So I've got this basket, and this has got some like 35 little pots in it. That's probably way too many. For a family of 4, I reckon 6 to 8 plants is plenty enough in your garden, and it'll feed your family every weekend, let's say in the summer months, so you can have a nice vegetable dish on your plate that you've homegrown and picked that morning. So what I've found here is these little pots. These are things you get your mushrooms in, and these are perfect to put on your windowsill, because you're going to have to keep these indoors in light until about the middle to the end of May, when they'll be ready to go in the garden. You can't do it before because of the frost, then it will kill the plant. You only need one night and it'll be all over. So I found these are really handy. What I suggest you do though is very carefully put a few holes in, drainage holes, so that this water's not going to sit in here. You don't want that, but just remember to put something, if you're going to put it on your windowsill, make sure you put something that's not going to damage your windowsill and water's not going to drip down your walls and stuff. But the pot itself definitely doesn't want to be holding the water. These hold about 6 easily. You could probably get 8 in there time you filled them. So these are perfect. So what you do next, you then need to put the compost in. And again, like last year, we've taken our normal milk bottle, chopped the base off, and now it becomes a handy scoop. And I'll show you what we're going to do. You take a pot, put a little bit of the compost in, give it a shake through the little hole and fill it up. Now can you see there, it's got a nice dome on it and it's really light and fluffy. So what you need to do now, to use 2 fingers, pop it in the side, hold the bottom and just tap it in. And if you can see, it's just turn it round, it's going down, you're just tapping it in. The reason we do that is because we don't want any air, but what we don't want to be doing is pressing it all the way in and making it so firm that the roots won't be able to grow through it. So it's just a very light tap. So you've shook it in, it's got the dome and you're tapping it down. You end up with about 1 inch from the top, which is exactly where you want to be. So you need to do that, repeat that for all of the other ones as well, and until you've got all of these filled. Now the best thing you need to do now is soak this before you do any further, is soak all this, and I did it overnight actually, so it really gets a chance to go all the way down. And what you're looking for is a nice damp little pot, and actually what ends up with is the soil inside will settle even more, and it will be a little bit, it's probably more like 2 inches down now, and that's perfect. Everything's very nice and moist, which is exactly what the conditions will need to start the germination process off. So pop that one back in, pop that down. So when you've done that, filled those, don't forget, water them, and again, leave them for a good few hours. Again, overnight would be perfect. Next day, when you wake up and you've got all your nice moist pots there, you need to put your seeds in. Now, the seeds, what we need to do is make sure we put the seed in the right way. So you'll find they're long and fairly flat that way. So what we don't want to do is put it in the short edge downwards, because one end, a bit like the runner bean, same as the runner bean or any bean really, is that one end is going to be a plant that grows up and the other one is a root which will grow down. So if you put it in the long way, unfortunately you could have your roots growing up and your plants growing down. So to avoid that, always put your seed sideways in. There's a little white spot on this one. Don't worry whether that's up or down, that doesn't matter. The main thing is sideways and in the middle of your pot. Make sure it fits into the middle of your pot. That way you've got an even distribution of the all of your roots and everything. And then drop those in, and that's that. Once you've done all of those, we have to then do what we call a topping off. So what that means is now these are just placed on the top, and what we need to do is put a layer of compost on. So get your compost tray again and your little shaker, top it up, and all you're going to do, best do this outside, it's a bit messy, just give it a shake, and what you're trying to do is get that dome on it again, like that. So you do all of those and just dome them up, and you do all of that and leave that like that for now. When you've done them all, I'm just going to show you one that I've got fairly ready. So you've done all of that then, so you've got all these here, and all you're going to do now is very lightly press them down so they're just slightly below the level of the of the pot itself. Push those down dead lightly. Again, do not condense all of the soil. You need to keep it light and fluffy. You just need to push it down so when you're watering, it's not just flicking over the top. It will actually stay inside the pot and water the whole way down. And at that point, they are pretty much ready. All that's left to do is the final water. So give them a real good soak. A little bit puddly on the top, that's fine. That's enough. And then basically that will soak down. You need to put these now, all your little pot, going back to this one. Once you've done all of that, put this inside. Do not leave it outside. Put it on a windowsill. The main thing is keep it moist. You don't have to drown it, but just make sure that the actual paper, the paper will tell you actually when it's drying out. So keep the paper nice and moist, not too wet because it will disintegrate. Just keep it moist, keep them happy, and probably in about 6-7 days, you might actually start to see some shoots coming through. And at that point, we'll pick it up with you then.